Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
And we're so excited that you're here tonight for the second episode of the 14th season of Geeks Corner.
We won't make you keep track for the entire 14th season.
Because we can't keep track either.
Yeah, we have
that's
no
okay.
What's going on half the time.
You never
know. Welcome.
Very much welcome. What should people do, Katie?
You should go into the chat wherever you are and tell us something that you are excited about this week, because the world needs more positivity.
Always.
Always.
I'm excited for one of the segments that we're doing tonight. Like this took on a mind of its own, and this is going to be very fun. And
I'm very excited. It'll be a fun segment.
It'll be a fun segment.
You guys should get excited.
It's very fun.
It's very silly.
Yeah, I didn't think it was silly. I thought it was real. But you never know. You never know.
You never know.
These things just go where they go. Speaking of things having a mind of their own and going where they go, Loki season 2 has arrived on Disney Plus. We've both watched the first episode of season 2. What did you think of it, Katie?
I like OB.
I actually think I would watch an entire movie about OB.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be anything more or less than what we've already seen.
He's just such a little cutie. Like, yeah. I love him. That's Loki was never really like my jam. I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. You can totally love Loki. You can totally
Loki. It's the Italian version of Loki.
I do love gnocchi. No, you can absolutely love Loki if that's your thing. More power to you. I am not saying it's a bad show in general. I'm saying it's not a show for me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So watching it, I was like, okay. But then OB showed up, and I was like, yeah.
He's very funny.
He's just
charming and funny. And,
very charming, yeah.
And very likable.
Yeah.
Like I found myself just wanting more of him, and when he wasn't on screen, I'm like, all right, I hope we get more. Like,
I just love that he is finally getting the love and recognition that he deserves.
Yeah,
like
Obi has been in that basement for thousands of years, and you're welcome. It's not what you meant, I know, but there was an opening there, so I took it.
There was. But you have to think he played Short Round 35, 40 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
And really in the last 5 to 10 years has really reinvigorated his acting career. Mm-hmm. So that just makes me very happy. And I think that Obi is very fun and also very fun to meet in the parks.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That was fun on Sunday. And I would say in some ways it was one of the most true to the series interactions.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of weird because, you know, usually they're like your character, but they're also the Avengers campus version of it or whatever. And so I think they are pretty high up there. Elsa Bloodstone and Werewolf, I think were very accurate to their Disney Plus other half. Yeah, it was a year ago.
I miss them a lot.
And then like all of them are accurate one way or another. It just, there was something that felt a little bit more real
here. And maybe this is just me being able to pull something out, but I love when characters are not afraid to be mean to people. And that sounds awful, but if it's true to their character, I like when they go for it.
The Cruella thing.
The Cruella, the infamous Cruella story that I have from like 20 years ago. But Loki looks at Mr. Daps, who was dressed down on Sunday, and is like, it was
hot.
It was very warm, and Loki's in a suit and a tie and all these things. And Mr. Daps makes
he wasn't in a suit and a tie. He was just in a tie.
Well, he was in a jacket and pants. Like, that's, to me,
it was still warm, yes. And long hair.
Mr. Daps makes a comment about his tie, and he goes, well, this is fashion. I don't think you would know what that is. And it was just so, like, it caught me off guard.
It was what it was.
And then Obi is just Obi, and he's off reading his book while Loki is
I don't have anything to add to this, so I'm going to read my book.
Yeah. Yes, no, but it was very, very fun. So I just like when characters stay true to who they are. And like Loki would 100% say that because he is a god and he's
something.
Very proud of himself.
What do you think of the rest of the episode? As in, didn't care for it, didn't get it, did.
So one, I didn't care for it. 2, time travel can be just so much that I don't always necessarily understand.
I feel like it's the most overused thing in Star Trek, but yes.
Yeah, but the problem is that everybody kind of, as a collective, we've all agreed that it's Back to the Future rules. But that is like, there are no rules for time travel. Back to the Future rules are not the standard. So everybody kind of does.
Well, and until you do it, you don't know if they're actually the rules or not.
Everybody does time travel a little differently. And also like.
Well, and we don't even know if we're just doing time travel.
Well, it's multiverse jumping.
Yeah, he could be going to a different time and a different thread.
Yeah, so it's just a lot for me. This is just a funny anecdote. I listened to a podcast, and the last episode there was time travel involved, but it was like 6 characters time traveled together. But they were like, "Wait, do we know if these characters still know each other?" Or because it was like whatever. Know. So they actually re-recorded that entire episode because they did it the first time. And they're like, "That was really terrible. How about we very clearly establish the rules beforehand on what the time travel rules are?" And they did Back to the Future.
So what
rules.
Should be okay? Never mind. I was gonna say what should be the.
Because basically it was. This kid went back. This kid was taken back in time to his parents' wedding, and at their parents' wedding, they were taken back in time by another, like, being who's a NPC in the podcast. But they couldn't figure out, like, wait, were we always part of this? Because if we were there and we got time traveled back, is that how it originally happened? And do my dads know that they're my dads? Or do we get taken back? And yeah, as you can see, it's very complicated.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I think Back to the Future rules.
Keep it simple.
They
make sense.
Yeah. What's yours? Are you also team Back to the Future rules?
Yeah, I think that's the easy. I mean, that's the most well known. So there's that argument to be made.
It's the most streamlined, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like don't mess with the past because then you'll disappear.
Basically, and that's pretty much what Star Trek has always done too. Which now that I'm saying this, I'm like, oh, maybe it's actually Star Trek rules that Back to the Future lifted. But
maybe
because Star Trek went back in time first. Yeah, they did.
But did they have a picture of them standing with their parents and then they're very slowly fading away?
No, but they did have.
Did anyone call Kirk chicken?
I don't think so.
Don't call me chicken.
That is true. All right, let's. I actually enjoyed Loki. I thought it was fun. I will admit it's not my top Marvel series that's been done.
WandaVision.
Easily WandaVision. It's further up there, and I really like the dynamic between Morbius and Loki, and the addition of Obi was, I thought, a really solid one. So I'm curious to see if they become a trio through the whole season.
Let's get Mobius on campus,
which would be very fun. That would be fun.
That'd be fun.
I would like to hear him explaining things. Like, that's just.
Well, and
I think that'd be great.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Mobius really explore Avengers Campus a little too far. And then, you'll never believe it, he sees this little red race car go by. And he goes, wow.
That's funny.
That's what I want to see.
Okay.
Mobius and Lightning McQueen.
Okay.
That. Also give him a jet ski.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the
all right.
What is that called? Paradise Bay?
Sure. We did an article this week on the 10 things you shouldn't miss on Disney Plus during the Halloween season. You can read it on the website. However, Katie, what is the absolute number one thing you cannot miss in your world during Halloween time on Disney Plus?
I kept waiting for the question then. Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Okay. I mean, that's what I would say too.
Like, come on. Muppets Haunted Mansion.
And honorable mention?
Werewolf by Night.
That's good. Yeah.
I don't like that they're putting it out in color. Don't watch it in color. Watch it.
Yeah, I don't have any aspirations to watch it in color. Because like the lack of color was such a big part of the plot, I felt like, and made it creepier. So I don't know.
Yeah, I really liked it in black and white, and there's a very nostalgic feel to Werewolf by Night.
And to the end, like, what are they gonna? I don't know.
Yeah,
like that changes the whole storytelling thing. I don't think they should do that. That one or Blackbeard's Ghost. I mean, that's a classic. It's a ghost story. Halloween. That'd be good. I could go there. No. Okay.
Still haven't done it at the DAPS watch.
We will. I don't know when, but we will. Maybe soon. Speaking of Disney Plus, Hocus Pocus is a classic. It's going up in price for the annual. The people that purchase it annually, I was like, they're not annual pass holders. It's going up $60 per year. What do you think of this? I have thoughts.
I have major thoughts. One, we really, really got ourselves back into the cable debacle, y'all. We really did.
Which was totally predictable, but keep going.
100% predictable. It only took us, 10 years to get here?
If that.
Because now you have like Amazon Prime, you have Disney Plus, you have Hulu, you have
Max.
Peacock, you have Max, you have Paramount Plus, you have like all of these insane things. And obviously Hulu is also mostly owned by Disney.
And probably will be.
Well, Hulu also is having a major increase this week. It's going to $17 a week.
But it's
a week.
But it's going to be completely owned by Disney soon.
Yes.
It looks like.
So in my opinion, this isn't a good look for Disney. Both of the streaming services they own are making a major jump in price for seemingly...
But only for your ad-free. So keep going.
I already don't have ad-free for Hulu, but my ad-free Hulu plan is going up.
It's only like $1 though.
Or not my ad-free, my ad
tiered.
Hulu. And I don't want to go down to the ad tier of Disney Plus, but I guess I'm going to. Yeah, it's just one of those things where, to me, we're already hitting the max end of what I'm willing to pay for these things. Like, I canceled Netflix 2 or 3 years ago because the price value was not there for me.
I don't think they put enough on it to make it worthwhile. I think this is entirely intentionally being done to encourage people to use the ad tier because they can make more money off of an ad tier subscriber for less than if you're an ad free. And my hunch is, I don't have the numbers, but my hunch is if you are ad tiered and I am spending more on ad free, like the new prices, because ad tier is still $7.99. Ad free is expensive. My hunch is we could watch the exact amount and they're going to make more money off of you than they'll ever make off me ad free, just because they can sell you basically to all of these advertisers and ad space. And my hunch is Disney would much prefer ad tiered people versus ad free people, because they can basically extend the reach that way. And so my hunch is you bump the price up and you're like, let's put it towards the upper end of where people are going to be comfortable or not, so that quite a few of them jump down to the ad tier and they're actually more valuable to us than the, what is it, 139?
It's going to be 170.
170. I forgot what it was.
But anyway. My thing is, yeah, that's where this year is, but what's next year going to look like? What's 5 years going to look like? Like, the price is going to keep going up because that's how these things work. But to me, this is already the upper threshold of what I was willing to pay, especially when you consider that, and I get it, it was introductory, they were getting people in the door. But when I spent 120 for 3 years.
Yeah, it's 139 to go to.
Yeah. When I spent $120 for 3 years.
Which was brilliant on their part.
100%. And they gave us a little pin that said, "Oh, I'm a founding member of Disney Plus, blah, 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 blah." I don't know.
They were putting out more content then.
They were. It just feels like a very
I think
sudden change.
I think it's a sudden change. It's not so sudden when you look at what's happened in the last year at the Walt Disney Company. And I think there's definitely I think Bob Iger is caught between a rock and a hard place of he's trying to fix the damage done to guests or consumers by Bob Chapek, while at the same time, he's also trying to fix the damage done to shareholders and the stock. And the two of them don't always see eye to eye, which is what we're seeing right now. And so I think he's trying to come up with a way that you can keep the customer happy as much as they possibly can, while also create value for the stock so you don't worry about the company being sold.
Yeah.
Or somebody coming in and taking over, which, kind of is happening. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens the next 4 months, just because I think December is when you can nominate for the board as shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
And so Nelson Peltz could definitely do that with what he keeps purchasing of Disney stock. And it seems like he's very pushing towards let's do things that will make the shareholders money as opposed to make the consumer happy. And it should work together, but there is also you have to grow that crop if you're going to do that. It's not an overnight thing. And that's, I think, the hardest part is you're taking, was it 2 years, 3 years of one direction and trying to turn that ship really, really fast. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And it is. I think it's going to price out a lot of people. What is it, $13.99 a month or something? Because you're actually spending, like, you're paying for 10 months is what they say, and they give you 2 months free. And I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I'm like, it's still $139 a year. But that is about what you're paying for Amazon Prime, isn't it?
I think Amazon Prime is $150.
So a little bit less.
But I'm not paying for Prime, the streaming service.
True.
I'm paying for Amazon Prime and shipping.
Yep.
And then I get Prime Video as a bonus.
True.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out and what we're talking about with Disney Plus in a year.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about something else that's kind of fun. It's time for IndieCam.
IndieCam!
Today's IndieCam was completely unplanned.
They usually are.
And now just watch it.
You just saw in real time how much reassurance Indiana needs.
He's always looking back at me.
He's
Wait,
literally-
you're following,
dead.
right?
Dead.
You're following.
Also, what you got to see. One, Wendy is a grumpy old lady. I don't know if you caught that at the beginning. She did bark at Indy, and Indy was like, "What do I do?" And then you also got to see that Tiana still has not figured out how to use the magnetic.
But she has. She has figured out how to use that screen.
I just like that she stood there, and then Indy kind of jumped in like, "Oh, I don't think she knows how to do this." And then Tiana was like,
"All right, I'm out of here." Yep.
He's such a little brother.
He's funny. All right. We've got a new segment for you tonight, one that we're very excited for. Here it is. I don't know why it's still making music.
I don't know.
That was weird.
It cut us off partially.
It cut us off?
Yeah.
Okay.
It cut us off when you were saying, this is called Let's Make a Flag.
All right. Well, let's make a flag. That is what our new segment is called. Sorry about that.
Why are we doing this?
We are making a new flag because the state of Minnesota has decided it needs a new flag. So, of course, it needs our help.
Yeah.
But before we show you how we have decided, each on our own, what this new flag should look like for the state of Minnesota, we thought we should show you what some of our competitors came up with.
Some of this, because this is the part I don't think that we explained well enough is that
you submit these.
The state of Minnesota has completely opened it up to submission. So anybody, in theory,
can submit a flag.
No Bodie McBoatface here.
But there's like a citizen, there's like a committee that's like the Citizens for a Better, or Minnesotans for a better flag. And like, it was very fun to research this.
They didn't call you?
Apparently not. But here's the first flag. This is from Chris Carter. And he redesigned this for Minnesota. As you can see, it's got the North Star up there. It's kind of got those Nordic colors, blue and white. And, you know, it's kind of boring.
Yeah. But flags kind of can be boring.
They can be. Like, they need to be iconic.
Yeah.
And
maybe not too cluttered.
I don't know if that one's iconic or not.
We don't know yet.
All right. This one, from what I could tell, in Minnesota, this is the most popular one. It was made in 1989 by two guys. And it's called the North Star flag.
Okay.
And
is North Star a really big deal in Minnesota? It's kind of seeming like a theme.
North Star State. Yeah.
Never heard that before.
So that's got fun. A star. It's got green, blue, white colors of Minnesota.
Okay.
The next one I'm going to show you is a guy named Jerry Conley. He drew this one.
Okay.
And I will flat out tell you, I just don't get it, but maybe you will.
It's the star is north.
Yeah.
And the blue is the lakes. And the green is, can you see the Aurora Borealis in Minnesota?
Sure, but it's not usually, I guess sometimes it's green.
Yeah, so it's the Aurora Borealis.
Like, and why is the star so small? I don't know.
Because it's really far away.
I would not. Let us know in the comments, by the way, what you think is the best one once we've shown all of these to you. We're going to go to Stephen Hendrickson, which I like this one because that's a very good Minnesota name.
It is. That is a very good Minnesota name.
This one actually does. I'm like, it kind of reminds me of Minnesota.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got the Big Dipper there, and you've got the North Star.
Very cute. I like that.
I don't know if that's yeah. I don't know. Like,
cute.
It's cute. It's fine. But let's get to the good ones now.
Yeah.
Huh? Ladies first, of course. So, Katie, would you explain your Minnesota flag, please?
So, gladly. I made the Minnesota flag with weird things that I know about Mr. Daps. So
not Minnesota, Mr. Daps.
But you're from Minnesota, kind of, depending on what day I ask you.
Sure.
So in the top left, there is a snowflake because in Minnesota, it snows.
True.
There is the dishes. Let's get into the pictures. That is lutefisk, which is weird. Again, I've heard it's disgusting, but I also know it's a Minnesotan delicacy.
It is. That's true.
So to the right, another Minnesotan delicacy, tater tot casserole.
That's a treasure. That's a national treasure of Minnesota.
That is like fine dining in Minnesota.
I think technically you call it hot dish, but
well, I'm not from Minnesota, so it is a tater tot casserole. And then in the middle, it's not Canada because all I know is that anytime I've said Mr. Daps is anywhere from near Canada, he does get mad at me.
Not Canada.
It's not Canada.
Correct.
In the bottom, those are some lakes.
Oh, okay.
It's not as many lakes as like you'd expect, but
10,000.
Yeah, but I
10,000 lakes.
I put 2. And then the tagline is "It's cold." So I don't know if you guys know that.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota is either really hot or really cold, but like it's cold. And then I put a penguin for Minnesota's most famous celebrity that's come out of that, and that is Mr. Daps.
Oh, okay.
I should have put a trilby on the penguin, but honestly, I don't know how to do that. So
okay,
thank you.
There you
that
go.
was my submission. I'm very proud of myself, and that again, simply knowledge that I have gathered from knowing Mr. Daps for 10 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. I took another approach, I guess you could say. I took this very seriously.
You did? I did not.
Kind of. As you're going to see, it actually makes a lot of sense.
It does.
For the most part. Here's my flag. My flag, as it comes up, I hope. There we go. It says Minnesota on it to remind you where you're at. It has a mosquito in the middle of it.
Yeah, which almost made it on mine.
Which, that's the national bird. Kind of. Because if you look to the left side of that, there's a loon, which is the real bird of Minnesota. Which state bird, not national bird.
Canada loves loons too.
And then over on the right side of the emblem, there is a walleye, because that's what we fish for a lot up there.
I've caught those in Animal Crossing.
In the bottom, hockey sticks and a hockey puck, because that's the state sport. And then up above is the North Star. And then it's actually also kind of the North Star behind the mosquito, because I just felt like stars and sky and Minnesota and blue all worked together, and that was good. And I really wanted the braid thing around the emblem to be more of like metallic and emblematic, but I didn't know how to do that, so I kept it very simple in that regard. But I did feel like when you think of Minnesota, what's the first thing you think of? And it's either lakes, so blue for lakes, or mosquitoes. And you just put a giant mosquito that's rubbing his hands ready to eat you as the second option. So that's mine. Let us know in the comments what you think is do you have a favorite one?
Can I say something?
Sure.
And this is going to sound annoying, but no, genuinely, I think that yours is the best. I think that you could pick a different mosquito, or you could take the mosquito off. I can actually see that being the state flag of Minnesota. And like, you guys are probably like, she's just saying that because she's on Geeks Corner and wants to keep her spot. I don't care about keeping my spot. I've been joking about quitting for the last month, which he did say, okay, so do it. And I said no. But genuinely, yes, I'm a Mr. Daps fan girl, but I think that you did.
I had fun doing it.
I think you did a very good job, and I really, really liked it. So.
I had several contenders also of like what else you could do, like because one of them was just putting a giant fish on the side of it.
A walleye?
Yeah, just put a big fish.
What is lutefisk? What type of?
It's fish. It's whitefish.
Oh, it's just a whitefish.
Yeah.
I think is it a specific kind of fish?
I think so, but I just remember it being a whitefish.
Okay.
But like, just put a fish on a flag, like that'd work. Mosquito on a flag would work also, which is where it started.
Singing fish.
But that's what I
on a wall.
That actually was how I picked that walleye. But no, I was like, there's a few different things you could do with whatever. Like, I don't know. An ice fishing hut, you could put that there. I did think about getting the grumpy old men from the movie. And like literally just have them standing next to each other with thumbs up like on the flag, because that would be very funny.
I will say the other thing that almost was the tagline says, that mine said Minnesota, it's cold. I almost put Minnesota, oofta.
That'd be a good one. Or you moron.
I've never heard you say that, but I do hear you say oofta a lot.
That's a good one. And no, there's a lot of different possibilities. Maybe we'll make more flags in the future. We'll see.
Maybe as long as this contest goes, we'll just keep making them
every week. Here's our new flag submission.
And then we'll just start designing for every state. because I think that every state would need our
new and improved
would take us a year.
Probably.
The 14th season could be. Remember that year we did flags?
That's funny. So next week we could do Oregon, and the week after that we could do South Carolina, and then Florida, and then New York, then Maine.
Are you just picking in a random word?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second, I was like, is he doing this by like the mayor's alphabetical name?
No, it's just going around different places. Like, oh, that sounds like a fun place to go next.
I know, but
Hawaii,
also,
Alaska.
Knowing you'd be like, well,
Montana. Washington.
Illinois.
Idaho, Illinois, Kansas, Oklahoma.
Now you're saying them. No,
Texas.
You were saying them in order for a second.
Only for a second. Finally, tonight, we are in Geeks Corner Plus. So if you have anything you want us to respond to, let us know in the chat. But Doctor Who, every single episode is going to be on this thing called BBC iPlayer starting on November 1st, which is fantastic because we were just talking about this and how it's so hard to find all the episodes. And now they're going to all be in one place. Mm-hmm. And you can watch it from day one all the way through.
Another
60 years. Yeah, I didn't find the price for that. We'll see. If it's free, it's BBC. So I'm like, part of it's like, shouldn't that be government subsidized?
Do they even do that in Europe?
I don't know. I think so. I thought the BBC was a government station or government subsidized station. I don't know. Yeah, we will see. But when can we expect state polls to vote on the next flag on Patreon? We'll do that tonight. We will put up a poll with 4 options for state. Well, no, because then we can nail it down.
Yeah.
And we'll make like a spreadsheet or something. I don't know. Yeah, it'll be fun. That'll be great. But I'm looking forward to figuring out a way to watch all of the Doctor Who. I mean, in a perfect world, they're on the iPlayer in the UK, and then they're on Disney Plus everywhere else. Like, that would be the next step. I would be totally fine with that.
If what we were paying for was the Doctor Who acquisition.
It just made sense. And it's time travel. Just to loop lots of things together.
It's all connected.
It is. It's all connected. Absolutely insane. All right. Katie, I think we are running out of time. So what should people do?
We could also design a state flag for Wales.
Well, why don't we finish the states first, and then we can move on to other places.
The good people of Wrexham need
there we go.
A new flag. Anyway, you should go to dapsmagic.com. Check out all the details of everything we talked about tonight. Also, all the Disney and Geek news as it happens. Subscribe to our mailing list. Find our Patreon, where you can give us your input about what state flag we should be doing next. Because,
among other things, yes.
And also see cute pictures of the dog.
Among other things also. Mm-hmm. We got lots of stuff up there. Also, make sure to check out our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of stuff going on over there. And we're like within 15 people of hitting 80,000 subscribers. So thank you, every one of you that are already subscribing. And if you're not, or you know somebody who's not, help us get to 80, then help us get to 90, and then 100, and we'll have a plaque right here. Right? All right. I think it'll be great. But that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you round the corner.
Bye.